afternoon, everybody. This is Warren Dews. I'm the publisher of the Greenville Pioneer and the Ravenna News Herald. I'm here today to once again talk about our community conversations. As you know, over the last several years, we've been doing a program called Community Conversations. And under that, we do a Ask the Expert, we do a Meet Your Neighbor, and we do a Get to Know. And we've done a lot of Get to Knows, and they've been very successful. A lot of people have been listening to them. And today we're doing a Get to Know of my friend, Steve Trout. Hey, Steve.
Hello. Hi, Warren.
How you doing? We also have Melanie. Melanie is our editor of the both papers, the Ravenna News Herald and the Greenville Pioneer. She's going to be a silent partner today just to make sure I behave. That's why she's here. So Steve, listen. So first of all, man, thank you so much for coming. You are. It's humbling to meet someone of your stature. I met you at a cigar event in Bennington, visiting a friend of mine named Chris Olam. He is the executive director of, the Park McCullough, the Governor's Mansion. And you and I were there visiting at a cigar event. Who was there that day? The guy, the most interesting guy in the world.
Mr. Goldsmith, Dos Equis, the Dos Equis man. The
Dos Equis guy,
Dos Equis, most wonderful, the
interesting man in the world.
Most interesting man in the world.
Well, today you are the most interesting man in the world. So, Steve, I met you and we started talking, and you used to play professional baseball. Can you talk to us about that? How did that whole thing start?
Well, it started as a young boy, but it also was part of a genetic thing I received from my father, who was a Detroit Tiger pitcher, and his best friends were Ted Williams and some of the great guys from the 1940s. He pitched for the Detroit Tigers. Out of the 7 boys he had, I'm the ninth child, the sixth son, and I had the arm that sort of matched his, and it was a gift that he gave me, and it really started though in 1976 when I was drafted by the Chicago White Sox out of high school.
Okay, and your father's name was Dizzy Trout, right?
Right, Paul Howard Trout. Dizzy Trout he was known as in baseball, partly because of Dizzy Dean. The great Dizzy Dean was a well-known character in baseball, well-loved. He was leaving the game as a veteran player. My father was coming up. They were talking, and one of the reporters said, "Hey, that's the next Dizzy Dean." And it sort of stuck to my dad's name.
Now, so I also did some research and realized that they called you Rainbow Trout.
Yeah.
How'd you get that name? Was it had something to do with the fish? Or?
It had a lot to do with ESPN.
Okay.
Marty Berman, I believe it was. He was the host of when ESPN came out. I believe it was like 86 or something. And my curveball looked like a rainbow.
Okay.
And he says, and I guess maybe some people thought I was a flamboyant guy, so the colors and what have you. And it had something to do with Trout. And in high school, I was a good basketball player. Somebody said he's got a rainbow shot because my shot would sometimes touch the rafters of the ceiling. We played in small high school gyms, but it really came, I think, with ESPN when Marty Berman said he's got a rainbow curveball.
So, I mean, how exciting is that? You played with the Chicago Cubs, Yankees, and the Mariners, right?
Started with the White Sox, then moved over to the Cubs. And when I got traded, I said, where the heck is Wrigley Field? And I had never been in the north side of Chicago, to be quite honest, being a south side guy. And my father being an executive for the White Sox. So I never really made it past, let's say, the river. It splits the city in half.
Okay. So real quick, I want to move to something else in a couple of seconds, but let's stay in this baseball thing. I mean, did you enjoy it? I mean, it's just amazing when you gave me a card with your face on it, and I was like, man, I used to collect these things. It was a humbling experience.
Yeah, I enjoyed it. I thought the White Sox days were wonderful years with Bill Veeck, who was an owner who always had something happening at the ballpark. Being in my dad's footsteps, and then being traded to the Cubs and staying in Chicago. When I went to New York, baseball became a whole different story for me. Things changed a lot, unfortunately. I love George Steinbrenner. I went to Seattle and spent a couple of years there. Loved the Seattle. The years were great. I have no complaints. I just wish I would have probably had a different group of people representing me and my and my finances.
I understand. I understand.
That's about it.
So it really showed that you love the game, because then you went into training. Didn't you go into like doing baseball clinics and stuff like that?
Well, afterwards, yeah, I mean, a lot of players go into coaching. They open up indoor facilities nowadays. You see so many, even in the south side of Chicago or in the Indiana area. You have so many players that open up indoor training facilities and kids and travel teams. And yeah, I still do some coaching. I was in Atlanta coaching. I still do some private instructing. I know the game. I know pitching. I was raised in it. Tommy John, when I was 12 years old, gave me a few lessons as a Chicago White Sox pitcher that he was. Gave me his glove, and 17 years later, he and I were teammates in the New York Yankees.
Man.
Yeah, so I'm still in the game. My passion is tennis, however, today,
Okay.
and
Well, I'll
writing
get.
and writing stories.
Well, we're gonna get to that. We're gonna get to that. And I'm
Okay.
when you say the Yankees, I'm a boy from the Bronx, born and raised in the Bronx. I think Melanie, you from the Bronx?
Yep.
Melanie's from the
Oh
Bronx,
boy,
and we're gonna do it. We're gonna do a get to know with Melanie one day. It's just funny. Melanie and I was talking the other day. Her mother and I went to the same high school. Mind blown.
Hard
Mind
to
blown.
believe.
wow,
Yeah,
wow.
yeah, definitely years apart. Definitely years apart, but just mind blowing. So, well, speaking about high school and education, you really seem, I got to meet you, got to talk to you a couple of times. You really seem that you care about people and you care about young folks and education. You started getting into this whole, children's books. So tell us about that.
I started with Loosey Goosey about a father who's living vicariously through his son on the baseball field, and I had to work out a way in which the father would be less dominant, less hard on his son. And the way I did that was by having the coach bring Mr. Jones on the field to teach the kids how to play. And Mr. Jones realized this game is a little more difficult than it looks. So that was an interesting way of getting that story done. But it also was a positive thing because I saw so much of that when I went to see Little League games. Now, parents are generally very good. Most of them are. But when you get a bad one, it really ruins it for everybody else. And so that's the story of Loosey Goosey is really for a father, son, or a coach, for a family to read. But it's a lovely story about a father and son coming together through baseball. But it took some time for that to develop, and the coach is the one who does it. Now, the other ones I have, the trilogy of a Magic Baseball, is also how it helps kids become better at one playing, sticking to something, one through nutritional and through physical fitness. And I've seen so much of that that I feel like I can talk about that in a very honest way and a knowledgeable way.
Okay. So everybody, just everybody out there in the world, we have his serial stories. Steve's series are starting in our papers on January 13th in the Ravenna News Herald and January 14th in the Greenville Pioneer. And they'll run every 2 weeks for probably 6 to 8 weeks, depending on how many chapters. We're going to run all the chapters, but depending on how we break it down. And so we do these things because we want young people to read. You want all people to read. And all our papers are online and in print. But I've done this before in other markets. I've done it with a friend named Ty Jackson. And what happens is you start getting people picking up the paper and reading with their grandchildren, reading with their kids, and it's an amazing thing. So, Steve, we really appreciate you allowing us to work with you. And everyone, you can actually buy Steve's book. We'll put a link in there where you can reach out to Steve and purchase his book. We'll have a way for you to do that. But Steve, we really thank you, and we're excited to work with you on this. Before we go, is there anything else you want to say to people? Like, why should they grab this and read this?
Well, it's partly because kids need to have some positive motivation, and sometimes it just takes, uh, another teammate to sort of help them along. This magic ball, becomes like a teammate, and because I've played the game, I think I can really bring uh, a great approach to how this can be done, and that's why I feel like I hope they read it and they get out of it what most people seem to be getting out of it. It's a positive. It's reinforces good things. It's funny, and it's not too long. It's short stories.
Yeah, well, I will tell you, when you sent this to me, of course, I'm busy running around all the time, but when I picked it up to read it, and I wanted to get back to it and read it again and finish it. It was a good story. And I'm not, anyone out there knows me. I don't just say stuff to say stuff. I really, actually, you wouldn't be here if it wasn't good. So we wouldn't be running in our papers. So it's really good. I look forward to sharing with everyone else. Once again, everyone, when this is the community conversations, this is the one that we do called Get to Know. And today you got to know Steve Trout, performer. He played with the National Baseball League. I mean,
the MLB, White Sox, Cubs,
yeah,
New York,
yeah,
Seattle.
everybody.
Yeah.
And he's an accomplished writer, writing children's books and all types of things. And what we're going to do, y'all, is you'll find out more after you read these. We'll come back with Steve and you'll find out some of the other things that he is doing. So, Steve, thank you so much for your time. Melanie, thank you for making sure I behave. And we'll
Nice getting to know you, Melanie, a little bit, anyways, just a little bit, and you, Ward, as well.
I love the focus on kids, by the way.
Oh, good. Me too.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Bye, everybody.